Welcome. In front of me I have the new Red Magic Nubia 10 Pro, which you can see right here, and I'll go over unboxing along with a quick look at the device itself. So let's just pop it open. There we go. So this is actually one of the devices that I am really interested in, as they do look decent, perform really well, and come at a reasonable price tag, unlike some other devices nowadays. So anyway, let's just look here. We get plastic casing. That's actually pretty nice. Taking that out. And we get the phone itself. One of the cool things about these devices is the fact that they are just completely seamless. There is no bump right here, as you can see. I really like that about these devices. Now they do have a little bit of just a tiny bit of a lift off on the flash, like a ring around it. And that is just designed deliberately so the cameras have just the tiniest bit of distance from the table so they don't get scratched up as easy. Anyway, let's just boot it up. I think this is the power button. Yep, there we go. Now under that we get, again, another nice thing, especially for the price tag, a charging brick. So this is going to be probably a no slouch of a brick. Let's see. Yep, it's at 80 watts max charging speed, if I can actually get the camera to focus. And there we go. Come on. Camera, please. Right here. Hello. Right here, camera. There we go. So you can see this literally as a last message right here, that it's 80 watts max. So yeah, very good charger. And the charger is Type-C to Type-C. With the cable provided. Now, actually slap in the case on the phone just so we can kind of quickly see how that looks like. It looks actually pretty nice. Now this is actually perforated, or however you want to call it. So it's uneven, as you can see. It kind of has this kind of pattern right here, but it feels pretty decent. Now I'm more of a purist. I do prefer to drop my phone once, so I don't really use cases. But there we go. Now I'm gonna go quickly through the setup, because one of the best parts of this device is the screen. And with the AMOLED display right here, and it being just right now black as a background, you can't really see the bezels. So I do want to go through this so we can actually get a look at that, as it is I believe one of the highest screen to body ratios on the market. So I'll just quickly go through this, get started. And there we go. And you can see you're basically holding a slab of glass with almost no bezels. These are minuscule. And it looks really nice. Another thing that you might notice is in this display, there is no camera. There's no bump, or not bump, there's no notch. There is no teardrop. There is no hole punch. And the reason for that is something that I can't even show you anymore, as it's absolutely difficult to get it captured on the camera without like a microscope. It's using under display camera. You can just vaguely see like a circle right here that is just a bit of a different tint than the background. But you must be looking for that to actually see it. It's something that on these devices it's much more difficult to spot than it is on something like the Samsung Fold 4, which I used before. And on there, at least the inside screen also had the under display camera. But that when I was using it, I was able to see quite often, as the resolution there was much lower, so you would see just pixelations. But anyway, let's just talk about the specifications right here. So this is a 6.8-inch display with a resolution of 1216 by 2688 pixels. It is an AMOLED display, 1 billion colors, 144 Hz refresh rate, and a peak brightness of 2000 nits. With a screen to body ratio of over 90%, to be more precise, it's 91.4, and a pixel density of 431 pixels per inch, covered with the Cornell Gorilla Glass. Now, if you flip it over to the back, we have our cameras and a couple additional weird things happening. So, going over the cameras first, we have dual 50 megapixel f1.9 and f1.2 aperture cameras, one being wide with the f1.9 and the other one being ultra wide. And another camera right here, which is barely visible, it does this little thing right here, is a macro. This is a sticker camera by all intents and purposes, as it's just a 2 megapixel macro. Now, with those cameras, you can record videos at a whopping 8K resolution at 30 frames, and 4K will just allow you to do, smooth 60 frames per second. And at 1080p, you also get the 60 plus slow motion up to 240. And then at the front, under that display, which I might be able to show by just launching camera. Sure. These are the back ones, and this is the front. Okay, I won't be able to show. Oh, there we go. So it is visible for a brief moment, and it just poofs out of existence. So you can kind of just see the little area right there. That's where the camera is, and that is housing a 16 megapixel f2.0 aperture wide sensor that allows you to record videos at 1080p, also 60 frames. Pretty good. Actually, I want to check it out. Let's capture my balding head right here. Oh, it's processing it. Wow, that is much better than what I remember. Now, it is a bit weird fuzzy. It is doing some kind of like AI upscaling and stuff like that, which is kind of more visible when you zoom in, but at further distance, this looks fine. I honestly wouldn't be probably able to tell you that this was captured under the display, as you do have pixels that the camera needs to go kind of through. Now, in terms of clearness right here, you can see that the upscaling is just kind of failing right here. This looks absolutely atrocious, and this is undeniable. This camera looks blurry, artifacty. It looks like a thing that you remember from your dream, rather than actually a picture. But when it's detecting what it's actually trying to capture, it seems like it's doing a pretty decent job. And this is also zoomed in pretty well, so it's not like it was dealing with like a lot right here. And so yeah, now moving on, let's talk about going back, some other things that are located right here. So you can see this right here, which is in the camera. This is a active fan for cooling your device. Now, we do have a Snapdragon 8 Elite in here, so we do have something to cool, and you do have vents right here and here to basically pass the air through the device to cool that CPU right here. So that's one thing. Another thing, this device is a bit chunky. This is undeniable. It's blocky, though personally I do like the shape of the device, but it is a bit blocky. And outside of that, with the bit of a thickness that this device comes in, if I bring out more traditional phone, you can see that it is thicker and just generally bigger. Here we have it like side by side. So what I just brought was the Mate 20 Pro. It's more of a traditional size of a device. So this is just a bit bigger, but not by much. And with that size, it is packing a whopping 7,050 milliampere battery. An insane battery size right here. Now it is using the new silicone type of batteries, so that is allowing it to have basically the same size footprint of a battery, but the battery has a bigger capacity. So that's why these phones went from having like 6,000 previously to now having 7,000. That's basically the upgrade to the battery type. And outside of that, because it's also a newer battery type, it's being able to be charged at a faster rate. So this is doing also just measly 100 watts of just charging. This battery, not only is it huge, it also charges stupidly fast with 100 watts. So obviously all positives. Now, moving on into the internals, which I did already talk about just a tiny bit. With the Snapdragon 8 Elite, we also have at base entry 12 gigabytes of RAM, which is already stupid amount of RAM. It's more than MacBooks had up till not too long ago. So 12 gigs of RAM at a starting point with 256 gigabytes of 256 gigs of storage, and all options being UFS 4.0 Pro storage type. And this is the lowest end, which is also what I have right here. You can kind of define which version of the phone you have based on the back. So this one right here is, I'm pretty sure it's the lowest end. Let me just quickly check. Yep, 12256. Now you also have clear black and white ones, where you see a bit more. This is also clear, though not, maybe not clear, it's more like frosted. I can vaguely see an X here, or not. Maybe bring it. You can kind of see it right here. So you do have like an X. This is shining through, that's what's under the back glass. So this is still kind of clear, but compared to the two other options, which come with more storage and more RAM, those have like just straight up glass on here, which you can see through completely clearly, and it's either black or white kind of finish. So this one will be the lowest end. It also looks like this, and like I mentioned, the other ones have a different aesthetic to them to differentiate themselves. Now, in terms of the build quality, the device is built like a tank. It's an aluminum frame, glass back, and obviously glass front. We do have a bunch of things happening all around the device. It is a gaming phone foremost, I would say. So at the top, we for that have a headphone jack. This device is thick enough to accommodate for it, and they did. Next to that is an IR blaster to allow you to control appliances that use just a standard IR remote control. For instance, things like AC units. Next, speakers, which are top and bottom. Now, moving on to the side, now we have these areas right here, which are our capacitive touch buttons for gaming. And these can be assigned to basically either mimic some kind of action on the screen. So if you tap maybe right here, it would basically emulate you pressing the finger somewhere here, which allows you to, for instance, aim, move, and shoot in games. Same thing goes for the other one. Another thing right here will be our vents, which, like I mentioned, we have on both sides. Next, we have our volume rockers, our power button, which is circular, and the fingerprint sensor is mounted under the display, and then the switch. Now, the switch will be the weirdest part of this device. It is a gaming space kind of switch, so just to showcase this. So there we go, and this takes you to the Red Magic gaming space, where you get to interact with things like, where is this creepiness happening? Oh, there we go. This. Great. I love to be on an FBI watch list. So, I'm not actually sure if you can remap this button. It would be very nice, as personally I don't really care for this kind of space. I would prefer for this to function like a typical mute or silent kind of switch, and I have no clue if you can do that. I know for a fact, because I checked for this, on the Z70, or maybe not 70, but the Z60 Ultra, you could remap this button, as it also had this kind of switch. So not sure if you can do that here, as it's more game-centric focused device. Hopefully you can. So have a switch, and then at the bottom we have our SIM tray. That is just a SIM tray, no SD card capabilities right here. Our Type-C charging port, and another speaker grill. And that's basically everything that there is to this device. It's a very powerful phone, stupidly fast, for a probably the best price you can imagine such a phone coming at. So this device comes at about $750. So this is one of the most affordable, fastest phones that you can get. And considering that it has a active cooling right here, this phone can punch up basically max speed of the processor for basically infinite amount of time, as long as the battery, I guess, lasts, compared to some other phones which start to thermal throttle just because they don't have active cooling. And that would basically include any phones like Samsung's, any kind of basically iPhones, Pixels, and all that stuff. They will start throttling at some point just because they can't dissipate the heat as efficiently as a device that actually has an active cooling fan. But with that being said, this comes with a drawback. Most phones have waterproofing. Because we have active cooling right here, you can't drop it in water, as when water gets there, it just completely damages the device. So this is something that if it gets submerged into water, it's most certainly going to kind of cease to exist immediately. So that is a trade-back. But, not trade-back, but trade-off. But if you're interested in this kind of device, this kind of power, maybe just not active cooling, you could check out the Z70 Ultra, as it's basically the same kind of front of the device with less gamery software, designed more for camera operation with a bump at the back, but it also gives you water and dust resistant, which this device does not have. But all in all, this phone is absolutely fantastic. It's one of the devices that I'm wanting to kind of pick up for myself, upgrade my Mate 20 Pro eventually. So this might be the phone that I kind of go for, we'll see. But throughout the Nubia's Red Magic lineup, since like I think 8, they've been pumping out some absolutely fantastic devices that look just spectacular with this stupid screen to body ratio. It looks phenomenal, and it's obviously great for any kind of media content consumption. So anyway, with that being said, hopefully you found this video helpful, and if you did, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and thanks for watching.